An issue under discussion in the Unicam this year concerns former inmates and food assistants.
In Nebraska, those with felony drug convictions have a lifetime ban on food stamps. Our Bella Caracta spoke with people whose conviction from over a decade ago affects their ability to get food today.
They said, well, you're disqualified for life.
Said lifetime ban.
Both Kayla Toby and Mary Shaw were convicted of felony conspiracy to distribute drugs in separate cases more than a decade ago. Each served their time, but when they got out, they quickly realized the punishment wasn't over.
It had the feeling of you're worthless, you're not a proper member of society, and I was doing my best to amend my wrongs.
When Mary's husband passed away, she needed food assistance.
My budget for groceries is approximately $20 a month.
Mary looked into food stamps, but Nebraska law bans anyone with 3 or more felony possession convictions or 1 felony distribution conviction from ever receiving help.
I wanted to use it as a stepping stone to help me get back on my feet when I found out I was going to start over as a new parent.
Senator Megan Hunt from Omaha had people like Kayla and Mary in mind when she reintroduced LB 88 for the 3rd time.
People don't need to keep paying, society back and paying a dent and serving their sentence when they've already done that.
It would allow those who served their time and are in good standing to get food assistance. In past attempts, the bill drew criticism. In 2019, Senator John Lowe of Kearney opposed the bill, saying those who are transitioning from jail need incentives to change. Last year, Senator Julie Slama opposed it, saying she'd like to scale down SNAP benefits. Now, in 2023, maybe the 3rd time's the charm. On your side in Omaha, Bella Caracta, 6 News.
Currently, LB 88 is awaiting a hearing in the Health and Human Services Committee. As always, we'll keep you updated with what's happening in the Nebraska legislature as soon as we find out. John?